don't stop.
Welcome to SASS of Sabrina. This is the channel where we try one new thing a week and post however it has turned out. All in the hopes of inspiring you to find a SASS of your own or make you laugh through our trial and errors. If we make you laugh, please subscribe. If we make you smile, please share. We post a new video every Tuesday. So in today's video, we are going to be making reusable beeswax cloth wraps. After a little bit of research, I found that there's two ways you can make the reusable beeswax cloth wraps. So you put your protective towel down and then wax paper and then your fabric that you want to put the beeswax all over. Shred your beeswax and then drizzle a little bit of, it just is acting as a carrier oil to distribute the beeswax a little bit more evenly. I've seen it, they literally just like use an eyedropper or drizzle it paper and then another towel, and then you can just use your arm and do everything that way. I don't want to make it that way. We found through the research that if you add a third ingredient, pine resin, what the pine resin does is gives it a little bit more of a sticky factor to make it cling to the side of the container. Otherwise, you'll just be using like elastic bands if you just use the straight beeswax with oil or without. There was several different recipes that I kind of using as my guideline. So there's different ratios I found. They're basically all the same guidelines. Some were just bigger for more quantities of cloth that they're making. I am substituting two of those out. Obviously we need the beeswax. For oils, I'm using avocado oil as my substitute. And instead of pine resin, I'm allergic to everything evergreen or vegetable glycerin. And I know the vegetable glycerin does have a little bit of a sticky factor, and if you Google it, it does say that it. Beeswax is antibacterial, the avocado oil that I substituted in is antibacterial, and the vegetable glycerin that I substituted in is antimicrobial. I am going to be doing it in a double boiler. I know my beeswax melts a lot quicker than a half hour. I read that the pine resin also heats up quite quickly. Doing a half hour or even 20 minutes seems like quite a lot. Liquefied and mixed well. You will need a paintbrush that you want to toss after to spread it evenly on, and then you're going to be putting it in the oven for 2 minutes at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So with the double boiler heat and then the heat from the oven, I just don't want to risk burning the beeswax, which I have done before, and it's horrible. This is 100% cotton. It is organic. Some sites said yes, some sites said no for organic. Other fabrics are recommended are hemp and linen, just things that are light and absorbable. Fabric has to be washed and dried and pressed, obviously. I avoided everything. I just used laundry soap. I didn't use any dryer sheets. Obviously no starch when you're pressing. You just want it to be as clean and organic as possible. Continually used a lint roller like every step of the way. Previously on the first press, while cutting, prior on the second press, you name it, I just continually lint rolled the edges, the whole thing. Obviously you want it to be as clean as possible when you swipe the beeswax mixture on it. I just spent a couple hours cutting these out. They are roughly 10 by 10. My new pinking shears were actually not the sharpest, so I do have some fraying and some spots already. Making these in bulk, they are going to be part of a gift, so I made 50 of these 10 by 10 sheets. Okay, so let's move this up to the kitchen. Okay, so here we are. The oven is preheated to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. I have my 2 cookie sheets with my parchment paper, 2 cloths. I have my beeswax getting heated up. So it's 4 ounces beeswax, 1 ounce substitute the pine resin for vegetable glycerin, and a ½ ounce substitute for avocado oil. Then I have my drying racks and everything ready to go. I do know from working with beeswax in previous projects that you have to keep it heated. So I'm going to turn this down to low and keep it warmed up. Everything I researched said you want to evenly distribute the beeswax on the material, but you don't want to oversaturate it. I don't exactly know what that means, but I'm hoping I'll see it. So you do have to work quickly. It is actually already drying on me. Every site also said that you, after the 2 minutes in the oven, you will be filling in some spots that have been missed. I'm just covering both sides. Just discovered you don't need to coat both sides. Just one side is fine and the other side will absorb everything that kind of melts off. I probably have oversaturation of the material. So grab the cloth that you haven't done yet, put it on top and let it absorb all the excess. I had so much, I got a couple extra sheets done because I had too much beeswax on there. Wow, you do have to work very quickly. I will run you through this. I do apologize for my back. So this tray just came out of the oven, sheet on it. So this is my new sheet that has just absorbed all my excess. There is one in the oven. So I'm just going along and touching up any dry spots that the excess couldn't cover. You do have to work quickly because the brush sets up, the wax sets up, like everything just goes hard on you. And then finding I'm working from the sheet out from a center radius, because otherwise it's just crinkling and folding and acting weird. So one comes out, cloth goes on top, press it down for the excess beeswax. As they cool, I am putting a fresh piece of parchment paper. So I've done several of the wax sheets already. I'm finding the first batch that I did, maybe my measurements were a little bit more consistent. They work a little bit better. I might have gotten a little bit too liberal with my oil and with my vegetable glycerin on the last few. I'm gonna adjust my measurements on everything. This is the loudest, steamiest, hottest project I have done to date. This is my stack. I almost had enough beeswax to create 50. I got to 48. To take care of the reusable beeswax wraps, you just wash it with cold water, and so warm water will obviously melt the consistency. Probably hand wash, of course. Hang dry, flammable. I had discovered in my research. Say you've used it as a wrap and then the beeswax has budged a little bit from the edge of the bowl or whatever you may have just wrapped. Literally just grab some parchment paper like on each side of it, and then an iron on a low heat, and then it'll just smooth out any inconsistencies. As you remember, they were previously white. This is with the mixture all over them. Okay, let's see if they stay wrapped or if they need an elastic. A little bit of give there, but that's not too bad at all. Nope, no residue left on the bowl. I found if you did not wait for it to cool until it was stone cold, then the parchment paper peeled a little bit off. I even had it cooling by an open window so that I could just quickly take the parchment paper off with no fuss, no muss. I do wish I got a little creative with food coloring, either did like a tie-dye design on it or maybe even like a squeeze bottle, even just a simple little happy face or something. But food coloring would be the best thing to use. Thanks so much for watching my video. Please subscribe, watch on repeat, like, and share. Sass it up! Don't stop. Don't